Hello, and welcome to a new episode of the Magic Winning podcast. My intention with these episodes is to bring awareness and clarity to the winning breastfeeding process because this is what I'm here to do.
You've created a miracle called life, breastfeeding or pumping every day and night. And there's gonna be a gentle winning way. It's time to listen to Magic Winning. Welcome to Magic Winning. You ready for Magic Winning? With Gabriela Ungurelu.
Today, in this episode, I want to talk to you about how to stop the milk flow. It's something that right next to the cold turkey method is attempted in order to stop breastfeeding. If you haven't listened to the cold turkey episode, is the previous one, I invite you to do so. The deal with the milk, it's easy because the milk starts from your head and not necessarily from your body. That is from your thoughts. Because when you become a mother, what's going on, and this is what I found out myself. I had some ideas, but I literally saw it in practice because I desired to have a natural birth. And I've been in labor for 12 hours. But I was 2 centimeters open when I entered the hospital in the morning. And I was 2 centimeters open. My cervix was 2 centimeters open after 12 hours of labor. When I entered the surgical room because I had to have an emergency C-section because the beating of my son's heart was a little bit different in the way that it could mean a problem if I would have gone through the labor as it was, because I felt okay in 12 hours of labor. I was okay, like I had contractions, I was going in and out, but it wasn't the Hollywood movie like painful experience. Even though the contractions were not regular and quite intense. But I was okay, so I could do the labor thing. But something inside of me was too afraid to bring the child into the world. And for very good reason, having into consideration what happened in the next years that followed giving birth to my son. We all know everything. And sometimes when we miss the stop, like if you're on a bus and you miss the stop, you have to go back a long way. You have to go back the entire way that you went past the point of stopping. That was supposed to be the stop for you. So I went on beyond the point where I should have stopped in my life at that point. So everything came to me very real after becoming a mother. So when the doctor suggested the C-section, I knew in my heart, I knew in my own guidance system that I have a blockage. I have what I now called handbrake on, and that from all the people that were around me at that time, no one is able to get me through it. And the best and only way is to say yes to the C-section. I will go into a little bit more detail in the second part. So please stay tuned. This is a very interesting conversation we are having that will make you understand how the milk is made from the brain, from your thoughts, and how you can also stop it from the same place it starts. See you soon.
Every time I had a moment where I believed that something was not working for me, or, I had moments when my son was even more attached than before. And I was like, well, this is not how this is supposed to go. Like, I thought my son is slowly going to understand. And I guess it was all my emotions that I was letting them out there, and he would respond, exactly onto my emotions. And I would, call you, or I would message you, and you would tell me it's okay. You need to really tap on whatever is going on, whatever you're feeling now. So yes, it's definitely true. But again, 100%, I could not have done it without your one-on-one support. Just because I haven't experienced this before, there were moments when I felt like I don't know what I'm doing and I don't know what to do next. And you would come in and you would say, well, this is what you need to do next. And I would, follow your steps, and I would feel much better.
Thank you for coming back. We are talking today about how to stop the milk flow, and I was telling you in the beginning a little bit about my own realization on how this is going on. So I was telling you that I said yes to the C-section emergency surgery that I had to go through in order to give birth to my son, because I felt that I have a blockage. I felt that something is stuck within me or within my energy. I did not know at that time the things I know now. Looking back, I can clearly see it. But back then, I could feel it, because I always had my inner guidance, the inner guidance that we all have, that inner knowing when you just know, even though there's nothing you can prove the things you just know them. So I just knew that nobody around me at that point can help me get through that blockage, and I said yes to the C-section. And what I want to emphasize here is that, again, I was not the person I am today 8 years ago, and I had a lot of fears regarding shots and blood and anything that was related to doctors and getting hurt, or surgeries or whatever. I was so afraid. I almost can say I had a phobia, because I would cry every time I would see a needle. And in that moment, I had to say yes to a surgery that would cut me up in 2 pieces, basically. And I was so afraid. And I understood the danger that could be for my son and for me if I don't agree to the emergency C-section. I had also a very good doctor, and we had a very good communication, and I trusted her, and I know she wished the best for me and my child. I really knew from the bottom of my heart, and I know to this day. But it was a shock to me. I went into the surgery room alone, because I had a doula and the dad of my son was there. But in the surgery room, it was just me at the beginning. They also allowed him to be there, but it was just me. And I was so scared and desperate. Also, because of the risks that could happen, and also because of the entire surgery, then a nurse told me to hug her, so they will do the anesthesia in my back or something. And I was so lost. I felt so lost and so alone and so desperate. Like, I feel like crying when I'm talking about it right now. And I told the nurse, please love me. I was so scared. And that's how basically, after going through the surgery went well. And I did not feel anything. I had that cover in front of my eyes, so I felt my body moving and I felt them getting the baby out, and I saw the baby out and they showed the baby to me and I did not feel anything. So from a pain perspective, it was a pain-free birth. But my shock was so big. And I had also no idea what a C-section means, because I never took that into consideration. Not because I was this, I don't know, extremist flower power mentality girl, but because I was so scared of all the blood and all the cutting and all the shots. And I went into the room, into my hospital room afterwards, and they brought the child to me, and I could still not feel my legs. And I realized that the same blockage I felt in labor, I felt it in like literally my breasts. My breasts were huge, but there was no milk coming out of it. And it was no milk coming out of it by pumping, by anything, for like 3 days. And it was an interesting journey. That's how I felt on my own skin, the information that I had before giving birth, that milk is made from your brain, from your thoughts, and you need to fix that. And I knew that, having gone through that shock of an emergency C-section, and with all the risks that were involved if I would have said no, so I had to say yes, I basically suppressed my milk. I could not breastfeed my child for 3 days. And I had a very opinionated child from the moment he came into this world, because he would not take a bottle. He would cry his heart out, and the nurses had to feed him with very small cup, very, very small cup, tiny, the tiniest cup they could find, because he will not take the bottle. So I could not breastfeed my child. My child would not take a bottle. And meanwhile, I started to talk myself into calming my nervous system down, into relaxing my body so that my milk can go through. Because I had some information here. The shock with the C-section came also from the fact that I had no idea what. Like, I ignored the whole thing. Again, not because I was an extremist, but because I was so afraid of it and I could not look into it. I could not learn about it. I had no idea. Everything was new. I had no idea. So it was such a shock to me that my milk was suppressed. And then it took me some time and energy but I also had the support, because I had some mothers I made friends with, and I had my best friend and my sister. Basically, it's not my blood sister, but she's like my sister. Is like one of my best friends ever in this life, and I think we're gonna be best friends for many lives from now on, because we are so strong since we met, and we still go so strong 8 years later, and we admire each other, and we encourage each other, and we celebrate each other. Her name is Alexandra, hands up. And she was such an amazing support, because she gave birth to her first child 3 days after, a few days, not 3, but a few days after I gave birth to my own child. And she was such a powerful woman. I was looking up to her. And I know that she will listen to this podcast and she will say, "What do you mean I was looking up to you?" Because I was strong for her and she was strong for me. And we were mirroring the power that we had in us right then and there. And having her support and having her there really helped me relax into this and get my power back and get my trust back in myself. So the milk came. And then it came, and then it would be a lot. And in my short career, because it was short career as a lactation consultant, I saw a girl that came to me, and she did not breastfeed at all. She took some pills that they gave her at the hospital. She was a very young mother. She was not interested in breastfeeding. And it was 9 months since she gave birth. And she was still having some sort of milk coming out of her breasts. And she went to all the doctors and nobody could make that stop with any pills that she take. And so she ended up with me. I talked to her and we talked about her emotions and regrets and fears, and she relaxed a little bit into her entire motherhood experience. She relaxed a little bit because she found a little space in talking to me where she was not judged, where she was not looked down to. And she had the break she needed to catch her breath and accept her journey exactly the way it was. And the milk stopped. Again, after 9 months, after not breastfeeding at all her child. And it was then when I understood that no pills will help your milk dry. There are some herbs and teas that people recommend and stuff like that. And at a certain point, they might work. But if in your head, you're still breastfeeding that child, if in your head, you have such a huge regret for ending breastfeeding your child, or if ending breastfeeding your child was such a painful experience to you and something that you did not want to do but you had to do because life, you might not find the resolution of drying your milk with whatever methods. So my advice is that, like with everything else, and everything else you will hear me talk about, advice is to look at your emotions, to find a way to give yourself a break from all the things that you beat yourself up for, to give yourself a break for not choosing better choices before becoming a mother, so you could have a different story with your child, so you could have wider range of things to choose from. And once you make peace with the fact that it is what it is and you did your best and your best is enough, that's how you dry up your milk. That's how you move throughout life in relationship with your child without getting into the energy of what I call the overgiving energy. Okay? Because you feel guilty for not doing this for your child for as long as you thought you should have done it. And once you go with this guilt throughout life with your child, you will always be in the overgiving energy, where you, with all the good intentions of a sincere mother that you are, you try to fill in a void that cannot be filled in the present or the future. It has to be filled in the past. You have to forgive that past version of you for not knowing what you know now. You have to accept that past version of you for having done the best she knew in the moment she was in. You have to forgive yourself for not knowing better. And when you do that, when you're at peace with that version of yourself, your milk will dry out. Because in your head, you stop breastfeeding your child, literally, metaphorically, energetically. Okay? Because the overgiving energy is nothing but energetically breastfeeding your child. When you try to be the clown all the time for your child, when you try to be the servant, the perfect slave for your child all the time, these things, these behaviors in relationship with your child have the roots in the guilt part. And in winning breastfeeding, it's a very healthy, to call it that, root of guilt that might appear in the relationship you have with your child. So I really, really need you to understand that in order to dry out your milk supply, you need to close the breastfeeding chapter and to be okay with yourself and to be okay with everything you did and to know that your best is always enough. I'll see you for my final talk in a few minutes. Please stay tuned.
You know, I feel so grateful. This, along with being in your grown-up programs, I think are the biggest, I don't know, not challenges, but in a positive way. Like the best thing I've done in the past years, honestly, because it really helped me discover myself. So even before, just with going into your program, the gentle weaning, I realized that I've released so much that almost had nothing to do with, breastfeeding, but your mind, your emotions mind is a wonderful thing that could help you do so many things, but could also, can make you put a stop on so many other things. So you taught me this, and I'm so grateful that I got to work with you. So grateful, because it really helped me achieve what I wanted. Was a gentle weaning where I feel complete. Like I don't feel guilty. I don't feel sorrow. I don't feel anything negative. And whatever fears I had regarding my son, is he going to love me the same? Are we going to be just as attached? Is he going to sleep? Is he going to eat? Whatever goes in your mind, it's all perfect. I mean, we have a different love story now. He's even more attached, honestly, like that attachment, that physical attachment where he just, like sits there and he plays and he eats, and it's just different. Now now he tells me even more, Mama, I love you, which to me, it's like, oh my God, so all of these just came into place perfectly. And I thank you very much. I really thank you very much. And I encourage all the mothers that come across your program, your page, your group, to really work with you, because you reveal so much of them, not only about like the baby and the breastfeeding and all of that, but you reveal so much of their inside, their emotions, and this is so important.
Hi and welcome back. And also, thank you for staying with me until the end of this episode. Let me know your ahas, share this with your friends, tag me on social media, let me know what you think of it. Let me know what resonated with you, what you would like to go deeper in, and anything more that you wanna say to me or let me know. On one hand. On the other hand, before saying goodbye, again, I advise you to take a moment alone by yourself and go back into all the past moments that you think you were not a good mother for your child, that you think that the choices you made were very poor. And this includes, for example, if you are like me and you intended a natural birth and you ended up having a C-section, take that moment into consideration too, because I had to go through that too. I had to forgive myself for not being able to naturally birth my child. And it's something that I highly advise you to address, because this throws you into the overgiving energy, like no other. Okay? Because from all the mammals in the world, and for people having kids the natural way for millions of years, you, from all people, could not bring your child into this life in a natural way. So we have a lot of self-guilt, and we beat ourselves up a lot if this was also your story. So address this, and just like a meditation, just go back in time in those moments and be your best friend. Go there and see yourself hugging yourself. See yourself caressing yourself on the head and telling that past version of yourself that it's gonna be okay and she's doing great and her best is enough. And this will help you close some chapters in order to make the breastfeeding process easier, and also in order to make your milk supply to naturally end. This is all for today. Again, I'm Gabby. It has been an honor and a privilege to have this time from your day, from your life. I cannot wait to see you in the next episode. Thank you so much. Have an amazing day.
Thanks for listening to Magic Winning. Tell your friends about your magic winning. Review, tag, subscribe. We hope you had a very good time.